Hey, thank you for tuning in to another Random Thoughts. This random thought is about canceling Dr. King. This is about a group in Tennessee, Ladies of Liberty. Um, I want to say they have other chapters, but it's involving this whole CRT mess to where a bunch of dumbass people being led by people who are devious. Maybe they're also dumb, but is as I said about people like Candace Owens. It's like either they really are stupid or they're smart enough to know what to leave out so they can manipulate the dumbass people, which I think, some people are dumb and, are smart enough to lead. And then you have others who, are genuinely stupid. But the whole thing of how they're taking CRT and making it a catch-all, kind of the same way they did with Social Justice Warrior, the same way they're doing with Woke. But they're talking about CRT and they use it to encompass anything, they use it to take away anything talking about black history or anything that does not make white people look perfect. Because that is basically what it is. Anything that does not paint white people as absolute perfect. Because they don't want you, and they keep saying, oh, we don't want our kids to grow up hating America. We don't want them to grow up a certain way. And in this one, they're having a thing about teaching about how kids are traumatized, learning about the civil rights, and they had to go to therapy. And number one, I'm kind of wondering, like, what the hell did they actually like show them, like, for real, for real? Because even I didn't learn about. First of all, they don't teach you much about Black history anyway. So I know damn well whatever they were teaching them wasn't like the true hardcore stuff, like, you know, being lynched and being drawn and quartered, or the fact that they used to rape the men in order to break them. I know they weren't telling them about that, killing. I know they weren't teaching them that stuff. So I wonder what it was that had these sensitive, suppose, if even if that was even the case, because I also don't put it past them to lie. Um, but it's one of those things to where they want to whitewash Dr. King, about, they want to keep using his phrase, the want to be judged by the content of my character instead of color of skin, not realizing that they're showing that the content of their character to be, the content is trash. I try to be more clever, but I couldn't. So yeah, I'll just say the content is trash. The content of their character, the content of the book that is their character is some trash writing. It's horrible. So and it's one of those like little school books, not like a big in-depth thing, but they want to ban that from being taught in school. They actually tried to sue the school because it was something that was being taught, and basically the school was like, I'm not sure if they legit, was trying to tell them to chill out, but it's Tennessee, so I'm not sure. But basically, they said, well, the curriculum that you're talking about was taught before this law was passed, so we can't go back and, which is ironically, as much as they say, oh, you can't go back in time, and yes, some of those things are wrong, but we can't, we can't really go back in time and do blah 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 blah. They're saying we can't go back in time to last year and try to apply this law that was just passed to then, because we can't punish them for this law we just passed when they were in coordinates with it, but of course they're not happy with that, which I'm kind of like, well, what do you expect them to do? It's like they already passed this BS law, and but they already passed this BS law, and they they did what you wanted. Then you're trying to go further back than what the law was talking about. But I don't know. I also like to point out how constantly have police shootings, constantly have mass shootings, have all these things. We can't pass laws on anything. We can't pass legislation on healthcare, uh, gun reform, police reform, prison reform, higher wages, none of that. But they can quickly, in several states, they pass laws banning something being taught that's not being taught. And and once again, it's the thing of I don't know how to. It's the thing of people saying, "Oh, we need to get off the Democrat plantation," and it's the thing with Republicans, because those are the people pushing this. They don't have anything really to vote on. They don't have anything to entice you to vote for them. So they bring up this culture war BS that's about nothing to get you upset, to trick you into thinking that, oh, this is what's wrong with America, or hey, we did this, which you did nothing. Hey, we passed this law, banning this thing from being taught. Well, it's only been taught to lawyers and in college. It's it's only been taught in this higher education, which a lot of kids won't go to either, because as the landscape is changing, there's a lot of jobs that are coming up to where, number one, there isn't some class to take for it, you can just look up YouTube Academy and figure out how to do it, as far as if it's filmmaking or something like that, or you can make a living off YouTube. You can make a living off podcasting, doing all these other things that, doesn't require a college degree. Not saying that college degree isn't important. If I wish, it's one of my regrets I didn't, get one. But the people who do want to, the price is going higher. And anytime people suggest a way to mitigate that, oh, they're being entitled, they're being socialist, whatever. But then, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. Bottom line, the curriculum that you're talking about is only going to be taught to a certain number of people, and taking a certain law school, and it's going to be even smaller because a lot of people can't afford to go to college in the first freaking place. But it's funny, and as I always say, is you can see just I'm just confused, just the way that they can't see how they're being hypocritical, because they always want to whine about cancel culture, yet you're literally canceling these books from being, you're trying to cancel these lessons, because they don't want Dr. King being taught. They don't want women's suffrage being taught. They don't want any, like I said, anything that makes, as they said, people, they don't want them, they don't want their kids to grow up having a alternative view of America being perfect, because it might be too much for them. They're fine with their kids growing up ignorant of the world, and I bet these are the same people who want to say that, oh, you shouldn't talking about racism only makes it worse, which I would love to meet some of those people in real life, because I would ask them, so do you think that Dr. King made racism, and other civil rights leaders, other civil rights people who fought for civil rights, who didn't get a holiday after them, did they make racism worse by not talking about it? Do you think that all these people would have gradually let black people use the same water fountains, would have let them walk into the front door, use the same elevator, eat at the same counter, have the right to have basic jobs? Do you think that this would have happened had they not spoken up, had they not pushed the issue, had they not boycotted, had they not made it so that it was something that they were forced into? And if you think it would have, how much longer do you think it would have been until that actually happened? I posted something on the stories of my Instagram. One of the many things that speeches and things Dr. King said that we're not taught. So I'm grateful that, you know, we have the technology. We're able to go back and look up stuff that, you know, wasn't taught to us. And he made a statement: I'm tired of marching for things that I was granted, that should have been awarded to me at birth. Just basic human rights. But they don't want that taught, that black people were treated differently, because then that would put them in a bad light. And we're not teaching this to say white people are evil. We're teaching this because this is history. Just as you teach every black history isn't an alternative of American history. It is American history. And the crazy thing is, I even heard one person say that, basically, in a nutshell, she said that teaching about Dr. King is teaching about values that are antithetical to America. And it was one of those things to where she said that, but the way she put it, it was kind of a distance between her and the book. But it's like, you're talking about the book. So if you're saying that the curriculum, you know, is antithetical to America or what have you, then you're saying that what he talked about, Dr. King, was basically un-American. And it's just one of those things to where it's like, I bet if you made them try to break it down, there was even, I can't think of this idiot's name, some woman, some senator, she tried to say that the 3/5 compromise, which, you know, said that the slaves were 3/5 a person, she tried to whitewash that into saying that, oh, it was actually, how did she put it? Saying that it was not a racist law, because it was making sure that, you know, people got equal voting rights. But she was talking about it as if black people actually had the right to vote, but we didn't. And that's the way that she brought it up. And it was one of those things that was so wrong that it's like you were confused at what point to attack it. But it's just like, all this is just wrong and stupid. But yeah, just random, why is it okay to cancel Dr. King? And here's another, you know, insert random thought. Since they're doing so much canceling because everything is CRT, what are they going to do for Black History Month? I was thinking about this at work. What are they going to do when Black History Month comes around? and you teach about these black people, and as soon as you're like, oh, well, why do we have Black History Month? Why do we have this? Oh, well, we teach about Black history because, well, they can't say. They can't say because black people accomplishments have been minimalized in America, and if we didn't do it this month, then we would never teach you about it, because you see how they're trying to suppress us teaching about it now. Hell, there's a teacher who got fired recently for teaching about white privilege. And that's ironic to me, that your privilege is so high that the fact that somebody's teaching is like, yeah, some of these people, as a white person, you have an advantage over other people because you are the minority, because a lot of laws were made to support, to benefit, originally rich white men, but basically white people in general. But it makes them feel bad. And once again, we're not teaching, it's like the point isn't to say white people are bad. Like, yes, the country did bad things, mostly white people, because you're the ones, But we're not talking about you now. The only reason we're talking about you now is because you're trying so damn hard to bury this stuff. You're trying so hard because you feel like it's pointing a finger at you. And I think, it's just my opinion, the phrase that always comes up is a hit dog will holler. And that you're feeling bad is because it's pointing out some feelings that you probably have now. It's pointing out some things now that you are uncomfortable dealing with, because it may be some feelings that you have, or it may be some inconvenient truths that you don't want to deal with. Such as, or, it's some things that if we pull that thread, it will disrupt some racist thoughts and some racist things that you're already having in your head. Such as, well, why don't black people just do this? Well, because it's been a history of this country to make it so that so that it's more difficult for black people to progress and to do certain things. And that when we did progress, our cities were taken from us. We were murdered, and cities were either drowned or bombed or set on fire. And, we were killed. And that's too difficult to think about. It ruins the narrative that black people are inherently lazy. And then exposes the people as being racist, but they're not racist. That's a horrible thing to say. Everybody knows that being called racist is so much more worse than actually being racist. That's the trick that they keep trying to put on you. Anyway, I'm sorry. This random thought got even more random and longer than I intended to. But yeah, they want to cancel Dr. King by the people who whine about everything being canceled, because his viewpoints are against what America is about. Which I guess they're true. He wants to teach about equality, and they're like, shut your black ass up. So yeah, I guess they're right. Go figure. Anyway, thank you for listening. Check out more videos on my on the channel. Check out my podcast, Bold Expressions, on Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever else podcasts can be found. Have a good day. Love you.